By the end of this talk, you'll see how an unseen past has been shaping your present and what you can do next. When we talk about trauma, most people imagine something dramatic, a single event, a wound you can point to. But for many of us, the real injury was quieter. It was growing up in an environment where our emotions were too much or not enough, where no one said, "I see you" when we hurt. Childhood trauma doesn't always come from what happened. It often comes from what didn't. Emotional neglect is that invisible kind of pain. It's when love was present, but attunement wasn't. When we learned to hide our sadness, our anger, our joy, just to stay connected to the people we depended on. And so as children, we adapted. We became the helper, the achiever, the peacemaker, the one who never asked for too much. These weren't flaws. They were forms of intelligence. Our nervous system did exactly what it was built to do. Keep us safe, keep us attached, make sure we survived. We learned to scan for danger in faces, to read moods before words were spoken, to anticipate rejection and soften ourselves so it wouldn't hurt as much. Those adaptations worked. They kept us connected to the only love we had, even if it cost us parts of ourselves. The trouble comes later, when those same survival patterns keep running long after the danger is gone. We start calling it anxiety, people-pleasing, codependence, but at the root, it's just an old alarm still ringing in a safe room. The body doesn't know the war is over. The mind says, "I'm fine," but the heart still flinches. And this is where compassion matters most. Because it's not about blaming ourselves for the ways we've learned to cope. It's about understanding that every behavior, even the ones that hurt us now, once had a purpose. So when we ask, why do I keep falling for the one who can't love me? The answer isn't because I'm broken. It's because a younger version of me still believes love must be earned. We've all carried these invisible blueprints. We've all built homes inside old survival stories. And now, gently, we're learning to rewrite them. Together, Maya always said she wanted someone steady, someone safe. But every time she met a person like that, kind eyes, patient tone, she felt nothing. It was the unpredictable ones who made her heart race. The ones who texted one day and disappeared the next. The ones who needed saving, the ones who always had a reason they couldn't stay. She called it chemistry. Her friends called it bad luck. At 32, she met Daniel, a musician with that same faraway look she'd seen before. Their first date felt electric. He talked about art and solitude, how he didn't believe in labels. Something inside her softened when he said he wasn't ready for love. It felt familiar, almost comforting. She told herself she could wait, so she did. She waited through unread messages, half plans, the ache of being almost chosen. Every time he pulled away, she worked harder to prove she was worth staying for. And when he came back, she felt relief, so deep it almost felt like love. On the nights he didn't call, she'd lie awake, rehearsing their last conversation, searching for where she went wrong. She tried to sound casual, never needy, tried to make him laugh so he wouldn't leave. The silence pressed on her chest until it felt like she couldn't breathe, but she smiled through it anyway. After all, she'd been here before. She'd been the child who sensed when her mother was too tired to talk, who tiptoed around her father's moods, who learned that being quiet, agreeable, invisible sometimes kept the peace. She didn't call it neglect then. She just called it love. One afternoon, sitting in her car outside Daniel's apartment, waiting for a text that never came, she noticed something shift. The pain didn't feel new. It felt ancient, like her body was replaying an old script, word for word. The tightening in her chest, the shallow breath, the hope that if she stayed good enough, patient enough, someone would finally turn toward her. She realized she wasn't just waiting for Daniel, she was waiting for her parents in a different body. That moment was small, quiet. She didn't leave him right away. But she started to see the pattern as a mirror, not a mystery, and slowly she began to choose herself in moments she used to abandon herself. It wasn't easy. He still drifted, and she still missed him, but now she could see the child behind the chase. And that changed everything. 3 insights rise from Maya's story. First, when we grow up in homes where love feels uncertain, our nervous system wires itself to expect distance and to mistake tension for connection. Second, we learn to earn care through attunement, reading others' needs while silencing our own. Third, the very patterns that once protected us from emotional loss now create it. We repeat what's familiar, not what's fulfilling. But awareness is the first tremor of freedom. The moment we see that our present pain is the echo of an old absence, something inside begins to unclench. And from that space, the possibility of a new kind of love, steady, mutual, safe, starts to flicker at the edge of the story, waiting to be written. Ellie was the kind of person everyone called reliable. Up before dawn, gym before work, inbox cleared before breakfast. His colleagues admired him. His boss trusted him. From the outside, he looked like proof that discipline could solve anything. But when the day finally ended and the house went quiet, something inside him buzzed. An ache he couldn't name. That's when he reached for what soothed him. A drink, a scroll, another email, another plan, anything but stillness. It started small, almost invisible, a glass of wine to unwind after work. A quick scroll through social media that turned into hours, a few more late nights catching up on projects no one asked for. His friends joked that he was married to his job. Ellie laughed too, pretending it didn't sting. The truth was, silence scared him. The hum of productivity was the only thing that kept the emptiness from rising. On weekends, he tried to relax. He'd sit on his couch, phone in hand, and feel his stomach twist at the thought of doing nothing. So, he'd pour another drink, check another notification, reply to another email. Each small action numbed him just enough to avoid the question lurking beneath it all. What would happen if I stopped? If I let the feelings I keep outrunning finally catch up? One night, he couldn't sleep. He opened his laptop to distract himself, but his vision blurred from exhaustion. He closed the screen and stared into the dark, and then, for the first time in a long while, he let the quiet in. It wasn't peaceful. It was heavy. Memory surfaced in flashes, sitting alone in his childhood room after his parents' fights, learning early that calm was dangerous and achievement was safety. He realized that his addiction wasn't to work or alcohol or his phone. It was to escape, to staying one step ahead of the pain that once felt unbearable. That's when the frame shifted. The question was never why the addiction, it was why the pain. Why did his body still brace for impact in moments of stillness? Why did rest feel like risk? When we see through that lens, addiction stops looking like moral failure and starts looking like a brilliant, desperate attempt to survive what once felt impossible to feel. It's not weakness, it's a signal, a call from the part of us that still believes we're only safe when we're busy, distracted, or numb. Compassion doesn't mean excusing the behavior, it means understanding the need beneath it. Every habit carries a story. Every craving points to a wound that hasn't yet been met with care. Ellie's story isn't unique, it's the quiet, unspoken truth of so many of us who learn to keep moving so we wouldn't have to feel. So maybe the next time you reach for your phone, your drink, your to-do list, you could pause for a breath and ask yourself 2 gentle questions. What pain am I trying not to feel right now? And what might happen if I met that pain with kindness instead of escape? Think of your body as a house and your nervous system as the smoke alarm inside it. Its job is simple: to keep you safe. When you were young, if the fire of fear, shame, or loneliness ever broke out and no one came to soothe you, your alarm learned to stay on high alert. Even after the flames went out, the alarm didn't know that. It only knew that danger once lived here. So now, as an adult, something small, a sharp tone, a long silence, a text left unread, can set off the same alarm. Your heart races, your chest tightens, and suddenly it feels like the room is burning again. That's implicit memory, the body remembering what the mind has tucked away. Implicit memory doesn't come as images or words. It arrives as sensations, urges, or moods that seem to appear out of nowhere. You might think I'm overreacting, but your body isn't being dramatic. It's being loyal. It's trying to protect you using the only data it has, the old map of what once kept you safe. The body stores what the mind couldn't bear to hold. It's not sabotage, it's devotion misunderstood. Imagine someone who flinches when their partner raises their voice, not because of what's said now, but because their nervous system recognizes the pitch of threat from years ago. Their smoke alarm goes off, but there's no fire, just the echo of one. If we look at that reaction without judgment, we can see the brilliance in it. The body is saying, I remember this. I'm trying to keep you safe. The hope is this: alarms can be recalibrated. Safety can be relearned. When we begin to meet those signals with curiosity instead of criticism, when we pause, breathe, and notice, oh, this is my alarm, not an emergency, we start teaching the body a new truth. The mind begins to trust the body's wisdom, and the body begins to trust the mind's calm. Over time, the alarm still sounds, but it grows quieter, shorter, more discerning. It learns the difference between smoke from a candle and a real fire. Healing isn't about erasing the past. It's about helping the body update its story. And in that gentle work, we discover something quietly miraculous. The same system that once overreacted to pain can also become the one that signals safety, peace, and presence. The first steps in healing aren't grand gestures, they're small, consistent acts of noticing. Start with an awareness journal. For 1 week, jot down when you feel yourself tightening, numbing, or chasing. Note what was happening, who was there, and what you felt in your body. No analysis, just observation. This builds a bridge between experience and awareness, because what we can name, we can begin to nurture. Next, try compassionate inquiry. When a trigger shows up, ask softly, what is this feeling trying to protect me from? Or, when have I felt this way before? Don't push for an answer, just open the door. These questions help bring curiosity where shame once lived, allowing understanding to replace self-blame. Then introduce one somatic pause, something simple your body can trust. Maybe it's 3 slow breaths, feeling your feet on the floor, or looking around the room and naming what you see. These small, grounding moments remind your nervous system that you're here now and that this moment is different from the past. Over time, that pause becomes a signal of safety your body can recognize. Choose one boundary to practice this week. It could be as small as saying, I'll need to think about that before agreeing to something. Boundaries are how we teach both others and ourselves that our limits matter. They rewire the belief that connection requires self-abandonment. Each small boundary is an act of self-trust. Finally, reach for one safe connection, a friend who listens without fixing, a support group, or a therapist. Healing happens in the presence of safety. We can only repattern what was broken in relationship through relationship. Let someone witness you where you once had to be invisible. Each of these steps matters because they reintroduce choice where there was once only reaction. They teach your body and mind that you're no longer trapped inside the old story. You're the one writing it now. If, while practicing these steps, you notice overwhelming emotions, flashbacks, or physical distress, it's wise to seek guidance from a licensed mental health professional. Support isn't a sign of weakness. It's a way of walking this path with safety, care, and company. Both Maya and Ellie carried their pain like roots grown in darkness, reaching, twisting, doing whatever they could to survive. But now, as awareness and compassion begin to touch those buried places, something starts to shift. Imagine light slowly rising through cracked roots, not forcing growth, but warming it. This is how healing moves, quietly, at the pace of safety. Each small pause, each boundary, each honest moment of noticing is a thread of light traveling deeper, telling the body it's safe to soften.